This video is on the oil change process of a 2013 Camry SE. I'm also going to show you how to do a real quick oil reset also. This is the type of oil you need, 0-weight-20. This one container is enough to do the oil change, and I believe there's a little bit left over after that. I can't remember. This is a 5-quart container, so that sounds about right. You're going to need a 10mm socket and an oil filter cap adapter. If you do not have one of these, chances are you will likely break the oil filter cap. The oil filter on this car is very weird, and if you don't know where it is, I'm going to show you. I'm doing some work on a wet car. That right there is where the oil filter is on this car. That is contained inside of that housing. There's no oil filter. You take that cap off and then you put this oil filter in. This cap here, I don't even bother taking that off anymore. That's a waste of time. It just drains the thing. You end up getting oil all over yourself anyway. So I just crack this loose and let it leak out for a second rather than messing around and taking this thing off also, because you want this to go as quick as possible. So you need a 14mm bolt for the drain tank right there, and I am going to proceed to check the oil condition as it is. You always want to check the oil before you drain it to see what's going on inside the engine. So that way, the old armpit wipe there. That way, if you've used a lot of oil, you can tell the person you're doing the change for, they need to start checking their oil. And you see this thing made it 10,000 miles, and I doubt she put a drop of oil in the thing. I check my oil every other gas tank. So not bad, not bad. The oil doesn't look like it's in too bad a shape. This car has Valvoline in it. I highly recommend Valvoline over any other oil for just the average driver. If you've done your research, you would agree with me. But at any rate, I am now going to open the cap because the oil seems to drain just a little bit better. I don't know if that's just a myth that I've fooled myself into believing, but we are going to grab a drain pan, and I'm going to show you how messy the oil filter process is as well. Okay, so if you've never done an oil change before and you're just not very familiar with the process, that bolt right there is your engine oil. Do not open this one. That's your transmission oil. Transmission oil pan, the bolts are a little bit closer around the corners, it looks like, than on the oil pan. The oil pan is right next to the oil filter, remember that. So do not open that plug. It's the 10mm bolt here. I'm not going to show me draining the oil because this is just supposed to be a quick video on how to do this, but I am going to show the process of me taking this off and what it looks like inside and what you do with those O-rings. And most oil filters, it's a big mess. There is that drain plug that I showed you, but as I said, I don't bother with that thing anymore. It's just a waste of time taking it off, I think. Some people might disagree, but I don't know. Man, that thing is on there really good. I totally hate this setup. Toyota it's really being an ass by doing that. Got it though. As you can see, it's not easy. It takes quite a bit of force. No oil yet. Okay, there it goes. Every time I do an oil change on my car, I also clean the mass airflow sensor, and I swear it feels like it gives your car another 25 horsepower. You can really feel it in the gas pedal. Over time, dirt accumulates on that sensor, and it alters the air-to-fuel ratio, which can cause a loss in power. And it's definitely noticeable once you clean it and you suddenly get that power back. Over time, it's so gradual you don't acknowledge it, but the contrast principle doesn't have that effect once you clean it. So we're going to look into that as well. I'll show you how to do that real quick. You just basically take this air filter cap off, lift it up, and spray a bunch of it in there and let it sit open for a minute. So now I'm going to add the oil, and typically what you need to do is after you get enough oil into where the dipstick is reading right, you need to start the car up and rev the engine a few times and let it run for a couple of minutes. Then you're going to turn the car off, check the oil again, and top it off to the proper level, because the oil pump area and the galleries and all that take up a significant amount of fluid, and I think it'd be best if you did that. That's what I always do. It's not totally necessary, but if you're the type that never checks your oil, you definitely would not want to skip that step. Okay, now to turn off the oil maintenance light, which is no longer illuminated on this car, what you do is you go over to trip A on the odometer, you turn the car off. You have to have the headlights turned off too for this to work, folks. If your headlights are on, the procedure doesn't work. You turn the car off after you've located trip A, then you press in the odometer button and hold it on. Then you turn on the key, and you'll notice that the maintenance light will start to flash, and this will zero out into 4 lines that will slowly disappear. And when all 4 of those little lines disappear, everything will come back on and the light will be turned off. So there you have it. That's how you do the oil change on the 2013 Toyota Camry. And all that without any 1920s music. The Entertainer at that.